Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. Today's topic is going to be Part 3 Bullying Cult Clan Syndrome. Now, in Part 2, we discussed lies. Oh, I hate lies. So, I'm going to go over that now. Lies out of omission. That's what my friend Nina taught me about as to what Ken had actually done wrong to me. If he was a good friend and it was a healthy relationship, he would have not engaged in it and he would have let me know instead of just pretending to be my friend. So he betrayed me and deceived me based upon how my friend Nina explained it to me. And she's absolutely correct. Because if I put myself in his spot and I was in a group where people were degrading him while I was friends with him, then at that time I thought that our, relationship towards friendship was, good. I actually thought he was a good person, a good humane person, as to where he wouldn't do something like that. Just the way he treated me, it was very shocking to me. So I just couldn't sit there watching, never mind engaging like he did. So what was odd about that? So I had just started to get to know Santa Viking. Now, I'd honestly expect at that time that Ken would have told me about this hate group. But it happened to be somebody that I was just starting to get to know. So you'd expect the person that you thought was, somebody that you could trust and respect, and you knew longer who would be the bigger person, I should say, and say, hey, this is going on, and not, they wouldn't like that it's going on. Because I honestly, if somebody trusted and respected me, even if they just trusted and respected me and I wasn't, that close to them, I wouldn't feel comfortable, sitting there watching people degrade them in cruel and despicable ways. I would feel guilty and ashamed and feel bad, even if I was just watching and then pretending to be their friend. I honestly would feel extremely uncomfortable, you know, talking to that person as though it's not happening. I couldn't do it. That's not any different than when my abusers had gotten me falsely arrested. They were, verbally, psychologically, and emotionally abusing me, and the three of them were there. And my mother ended up calling the cops and making up a lie saying, that I hit her or something because she got mad because me as a victim, I had opened my mouth and when they were verbally abusing me. And she ended up getting mad because I asked her to stop hurting me. Now, a bigger person, they would admit to it, instead of getting their own child, especially if they really cared about them, you know, a possible criminal record based upon a lie they made. But no, she didn't do that. Then there's my father and sister. They had the nerve to come and visit me in jail, knowing that I didn't do what my mother had called in to say I did and gotten me arrested, which could ruin my life too by having that record. The most they did was get it expunged. They knew what they did was wrong and that it was not true, but they weren't big enough to even admit to the crime that they had committed against me and just have me take it. Not any different than Ken being in those hate groups while pretending to be my friend. In the last bullying incident, of course, he just blocked me. And like I stated, I wasn't even friends with him as for on Facebook. I had unfriended him because I already had that feeling that he was, just based upon how he was acting and also seeing that he was talking to those people more often in ways as the way he spoke and whatnot. Like I said, when he was around them, he wasn't that friendly dork, I should say. Just the way he talked, I could tell, and based on what I was seeing. So yeah, I saw it happening, and that's when I unfriended him. And that was actually like a month before he had humiliated me in that group that was special to me. So again, it was very odd that, him being my friend, or pretending to be, I should say, was in a hate group. And it wasn't him that let me know. Because at the time, he was really the only person I was speaking to and actually considered, a good person that I would want to have a relationship with. That I thought, I should say, I thought at the time. Like I said, I thought he was that friendly dork, but I was wrong. I made a mistake. So, we'll get on to the bullying cult clan syndrome for part 3. Fear versus pride. Bigger person. Escaping the bullying cult clan means that you have to make the choice between fear and pride. This is where having personal integrity comes into play. Exceptions. While you are a part of the bullying cult clan, you make exceptions why you choose to be a part of that abuse. A commonly used exception is convincing yourself that you are being a good, loyal friend by standing by the other cult clan members and not deceiving them by taking sides with their current victim or victims. Example, I asked a cult clan member why they didn't specifically tell me what Ken had said about me in the hate group during the last bullying incident, during the time that he was pretending to be my friend. Their answer was that those people are their friends and they won't deceive or betray them by informing me, the victim, that they are being lied to, used by a person who that victim thinks is actually their friend at that time. Yes, that's when Madame de Citrus had warned me that she believes that Ken is plotting against me. And she was absolutely correct, I believe, based upon everything that panned out during the last bullying incident and the recent one. I mean, it just seems that way. I mean, I can't say for sure, but it certainly makes a lot of sense now, considering how cruel and despicable, Ken had gotten, even after the last bullying incident, and based upon what he did in the recent, which was, like I said, the most cruel and despicable thing anybody has ever done to me. So Madame de Citrus, that's all she said. She didn't tell me what was being said, what he was saying in, the hate group that he was actually in during the time he was pretending to be my friend throughout the whole entire bullying incident in the last one. And I mean, that's really messed up. I mean, like I said, I couldn't stay, be friends with somebody, and he must wear a mask. That's gonna be another chapter. He wears that mask very well, as pretending to be my friend and actually caring. He's really good at that. That's all I have to say. Out of everybody I've known, he's really good at putting on that mask. And he really fooled me big time to actually think that he actually cared, because that's not, like I stated in another part, is that's not somebody who actually cares. They're very self-centered, and being the bigger person also takes you to have, the personal integrity to step up and say, I made a mistake, just like I stated, if I harmed somebody and hurt them and they didn't do anything wrong to me and didn't deserve it, I would apologize. I would feel guilty. I'd feel ashamed. But like I stated, there's people that are self-centered and won't do that based upon they don't want to be seen as being inhumane, not only to others, but to themselves. Example, my dad would say, she is my wife. She is your mother. Cultural, social beliefs. When you get married, it is your duty or job to always love and honor your spouse, no matter what. The mother is often given more power due to them being the gender that naturally goes through pregnancy to have that child, even after that child has been born. Excuses. It's not you, it's me. That's exactly what Ken said. That's the only thing he ever said. That was after the last bullying incident. As for being considerate of my feelings, all he could say was that. It was an excuse, basically. Even when one admits that they are not doing what is the ethical way to handle a situation, such as when you are involved with abusing another person who you claim to respect, just like him pretending to be my friend and having that mask on as though nothing was going on and to actually care. That in itself is an excuse to disregard the fact that they are not being a good, ethical person who will do what is right in a situation no matter who is involved. That's someone who doesn't have personal integrity. That's right, they don't have personal integrity. And then that's exactly true for even, Ken. And I have to admit that. He has no personal integrity to be in a hate group and pretending to be my friend. And like I said, yes, he plays a significant role because in both the last and the recent bullying incident, I actually trusted certain things about him, even in the recent one, and he ended up breaking that too, as the one thing I had trusted him the most on. So, that's someone who doesn't have personal integrity and isn't a person one should expect to be there through thick and thin for that person that they claim, or, in his case, pretending to be friends with me. Like I stated in another part, that's not a friend that you should be able to trust or somebody you'd want to be friends with. Anybody in that bullying cult clan, if they're, friends with the person that's being degraded, that, trusts and respects them, I mean, how can you trust anybody in that group that would do that? And they all would do that because they all stick together and they'll go along with it. This is the type of person who will always take the easiest path that will only benefit them in the end. That's right, when the ending happened, it was much easier for Ken to just, blame me and go along with the lies. Even if, with the evidence that I proved to him, like I stated, he still went along with the lies because it was easier on him. A good, healthy relationship, you don't take the easiest path because it involves effort. That's right. And having personal integrity. So in this case, Ken placed no effort. He actually blamed me for the incident happening. And of course, that was very hurtful to me. But I myself had issues where I always took the blame because that's how I was raised and conditioned, to just take the blame as though it was my fault, even though it wasn't. My mother had seen me having a panic attack just from hearing her voice when she started to talk to me one day. I ran outside to get some space away from the trigger, and she ended up coming outside acting as though she was concerned. I told her how I felt about her, my dad, and my sister treated me. I told her that I can't take it anymore. She told me that she can't change and that she is too old to change herself now, basically implying that I should just act as though the abuse isn't happening and continue pretending that they do love me. boy, exactly the same with Ken. It's not you, it's me. That's the same as my abusers and what my mom excuse was for being abusive towards me. She's too old. She can't change. It's not you, it's me, you know. Instead of apologizing and not doing it again, it's not you, it's me. I can't help it. It just excuses. And that's not a good, healthy relationship. And like I said, I shouldn't accept that. I should expect somebody to step up and be the bigger person and have the personal integrity to take responsibility for their behaviors. So, the next section I'm going to be doing is blame. So, based upon what we just went over, is bullying cult clan syndrome. Is, again, that cult clan and the friendship means more to those people. They think is what they normalize is as good, healthy relationships. And like I stated in another part, is that, maybe what somebody had stated, that he had a soft spot for me, Ken, and that he maybe had cared for me. But like I stated, he cared more about taking the easier route out, and also he himself normalizes that bullying cult clan relationships as being good, healthy relationships. And of course, there's more people there, and that's just who he is right now. And they see that as normalized, and they don't want it to change. Making changes is very hard, especially if you see that as normal and it makes you who you are. And you don't realize, like I stated, I'm proof of that I became a better person. I became happier. My self-esteem went up. Having unhealthy, toxic relationships will bring you down. I myself didn't really understand that. People, they have those, sayings about, you stick around negative people, it'll make you negative, or who you surround yourself with can make you who you are too and change you. And it is very true, especially when it comes to triad of abusers, when there's more than one. And that's very true, as you see with my personal life, as with my 3 abusers, and what happened to me with the bullying cult clan, and how I had gotten bullied several times by them. And then in the end, got traumatized because the one person I trusted the most out of everyone put together, yes, I had relationships with the others, but I always expected them to turn on me. And in this case, it was harder because I actually thought that Ken had the personal integrity to never do certain things. I did not expect certain things, such as him to, leave the bullying cult clan. Like I said, I always kind of took a step back, but I did expect him to eventually step up, but he never did. So again, I made a mistake, and I have to accept that I chose to continue a toxic relationship. And again, that was a really hard thing for me to admit. Just like it was very hard for me to admit that I was in a toxic relationship with my 3 abusers, people that never really cared about me for as long as I was in it. And it's still very hard that I actually did that to myself. So that's going to be coming up too. So the next topic is going to be blame. So I hope to see you for part 4. Boy, there's going to be a lot of parts. So, see you for part 4. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.